Oh man, guys, today is not my day.
Not my day at all.
I'll admit that I'm a little bit unhappy right now. Things just really aren't going my way. Me and Petra purchased, well, technically Petra purchased, but it was my idea, a Roomba or some kind of vacuuming robot. And we also purchased a new plant that we hung from the ceiling on a hook. And then just now we heard a crash and the plant fell, and then we used the vacuuming robot to clean it, but it was too much dirt. So then I had to use a real vacuum and the vacuum robot vacuum, whatever. My new camera, the Canon G7 whatever the had to be sent to Canon to get service. So here I am using my iPhone again to film my videos because I want to shoot in 4K. It's very difficult to get these videos off my phone and to my computer. I was on hold with Apple for like an hour and a half. I don't need to be complaining to you, but I am, and it's too hot for me to turn the air conditioner off, so I'm gonna go ahead and just speak directly into this microphone and hold it the whole time. I hope that doesn't bother y'all, because that's just the way it's gonna be. So, a few days ago, as in like 2 days ago, I posted, or maybe it was yesterday, actually it was yesterday, I posted a prompt on my Instagram asking my followers what the scariest thing about getting sober for them was. Disclosure is a two-way street. I knew that I had to also put out there what was the scariest part for me getting sober. And for me, the scariest, or at least top 3 scariest things, because let's get real, it's f***ing terrifying, was uncertainty. I've been sober for a few years now. Although it hasn't been like the smoothest or the easiest journey, I wouldn't change it for the world, and part of that has been learning to love and actually appreciate uncertainty in my life. And uncertainty can manifest in so many different ways, like depending on the person and their history. Perhaps for you it looks like anxiety. Maybe it's an aversion to taking risks. And for some others it comes out in controlling or possessive behaviors. I know for me that it materialized in all 3 of those ways at different points in my life, and sometimes all at once. But no matter what uncertainty looks like in your life and for your sobriety, I feel that you're in the right place today. Because in this video, I'm going to help you to learn how to love your uncertainty in a way that will hopefully be beneficial to your sobriety. You know what? No, not hopefully. It will be. It will be. I can guarantee this. It's a big promise. If you've seen my Wednesday tip series before, you probably already know the rundown. First, I'm going to share a little bit about my own experiences in and out of sobriety as it pertains to tolerating and dealing with uncertainty. After that, I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why it's so important to become at ease with uncertainty. And then finally, I will offer you guys an actionable tip about how to start loving your uncertainty, how to start appreciating uncertainty in your life so that it actually is something that benefits you rather than something that sets you back. At the very least, maybe you just won't hate it so much, but just make sure to stay tuned until the very end, or else it's much scarier with a microphone. Hello, sober people. My name is Allie K. Campbell. You can call me Allie. This is my YouTube channel. It is about getting real, having fun, and living sober. It's taken me a while to let that roll off the tongue. Every Wednesday, I upload a new sobriety tip as a part of my Sobriety Toolbox series. And if you would like to get a new sobriety tip or tool or whatever you want to call it each Wednesday, go ahead and click the subscribe button on this little rectangle right here, and you will be in the club. That happens to be what you're watching right now. Today is Wednesday. Today's topic is about learning to love uncertainty in your life and thus in your sobriety. Are you ready? I'm ready. Okay, let's go. I want to start off by saying that I don't think anybody just naturally enjoys uncertainty. For the most part, human beings prefer to know what's coming down the pike. That way they feel prepared for any obstacles that might come their way. And I'm no different. I, of course, want to be as prepared as I can be for life within reason. It's impossible to be 101% completely prepared for every aspect of life. Well, we don't have full control over the things that happen around us. We don't have much control over anything at all other than really our reaction to the external events of the world, life on life's terms, and all that jazz. So by consciously rewiring my brain to not only be okay with uncertainty, but accept it fully, to be okay with not knowing what the future holds. I've saved myself a ton of anxiety, and I think I made my path to and on sobriety a lot more enjoyable for myself by spending time doing that. Like, by no means do I do it perfect all of the time, maybe not even half the time, but the effort is there, and I think that's what counts. When I think back to a time in my life that I was most crippled by uncertainty about how something would turn out in the future, I definitely have to go back to when I was considering getting sober. While I was absolutely miserable in the lifestyle that I was leading, it was still scarier to think about the unknown of a life of sobriety. Like, at least I knew what the pain I was experiencing in active addiction felt like. I didn't know anything about the pain that could come with sobriety, or even the joy, or whatever emotions that may or may not come with sobriety. I had no idea. I was completely uncertain about what it might be like because I had never experienced it for a long enough time. It held me back for a while. And it wasn't really until I started listening to other people and connecting with other sober people, specifically those who had a bit of sober time under their belt, that I was able to really step into that uncertainty with a little bit more confidence and a bit more willingly. Granted, just because they were dead set on selling the idea of sobriety to me, and that they claimed they were much happier in their sobriety than they were in active use and addiction, I still had like a bunch of trust issues in the beginning. So somebody else, some other like outside person providing me with their certainty still wasn't enough. Like, hearing from other people helped, but it wasn't like the solution to it. The solution to fearing uncertainty is not certainty. The solution to fearing or managing your fear of uncertainty better is not knowing all the answers. The solution is actually learning to tolerate the uncertainty and become okay with it. Because again, at the end of the day, like, we can never be truly certain about anything. I mean, did anybody see this pandemic coming? I think it's a matter of radically accepting the fact that we don't know how it's going to turn out. However, we choose it anyway despite our fear. We choose it anyway despite our uncertainty. And like, with that step forward comes a lot of benefits. Here are some of the benefits why you should learn to love uncertainty, especially in your sobriety. Number one, you worry less, or at least I worry less. As someone with hella anxiety issues to go alongside my substance abuse issues, I'm a glutton for rumination, worrying, and just like generalized anxiety. And the old saying goes, if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. I do think that there's a kernel of truth to that. Since we can never really know what the future holds, if we're anxious or worrying about the future, that's mentally existing somewhere that is completely unfamiliar to us anyway. By accepting from like a deep place of truth that you will never have all of the answers, you let your worrying brain off the hook. And this isn't an overnight thing. It takes practice, it takes commitment, and it takes constant reminding every time you do get into a cycle of worrying. What I like to do when I get caught up in worrying, or when I'm feeling really fearful about what's in the future, I like to first recognize the fact that I'm experiencing the phenomena of thoughts, right? I can step back from them and say, I'm having these thoughts. It doesn't mean they're true. It doesn't mean they're false. It doesn't really mean anything. They can just be completely neutral. I can then say, I don't have all the answers, and that's okay. I mean, when I was getting out of a breakup, when I was first getting sober, like literally had a couple of days sober and was going through a really, really hard breakup, I was obsessing and like ruminating about whether or not my ex was seeing somebody else. You know, we workshopped it a little bit, me and my therapist, but at a certain point, she just kept saying to me, like, you're never going to fully know. You have to become okay with that. And like, that's actually what made me okay with it, is understanding that I maybe would never know the truth, and I would maybe never have the answers, and life would go on. It actually stopped me from worrying about what was actually not even my business anymore anyway. 2, you become more open to spontaneity. And there's definitely something to be said for taking calculated risks in life. I actually made a video about it. For sometimes throwing caution to the wind. For getting out of your freaking comfort zone, guys. When you're caught in the cycle of uncertainty, completely obsessed with the potential outcome of a situation, you set yourself up to miss opportunities to just enjoy life or to experience life in its fullness. Like, oh, I can't take this next step because I don't know if it's going to turn out. I don't know if I'm going to be successful in doing it. No, that's just holding yourself back. Number 3, it helps you to take pressure off yourself. When you don't embrace the inherent uncertainty that is indicative of life as a human being, you kind of set yourself up to be a control freak. And that is like within good reason. That's a very understandable coping mechanism to life. And a lot of people experience that. And I've definitely experienced it myself. But the thing that you might not realize is that you're causing yourself more strife by trying to control everything. Instead of believing that despite not knowing all the answers or despite not having control over every little detail, that things will turn out okay and that things will turn out the way that they're meant to, you end up believing this false notion that you have control over everything, that you're the puppet master, that you can somehow affect the things around you in life, which is like, you may not think it's that bad, but then when shit hits the fan and you realize how little control you have, instant meltdown, breakdown. Oh my God, I thought I was in control this whole time. It's like a super dangerous way to lead your life, thinking that you're in control all the time, because it is in a way playing God. And whether or not you're religious or spiritual is besides the point. I'm sure at least the majority of us can agree that there is some power that is greater than each of us as individuals. Like, you can look at compassion, love, nature, the weather, the ocean. All of those things are more powerful than me or you or us combined. So if that's true, if there's always something greater than us, then that means we're not God, we're not it, we're not this highest, greatest power. So we don't know what to do with all this control. It's not something that should be in our hands in the first place. I'm not saying just like let your life go by the way however it goes. Like, definitely access your free will and use it, but trying to control everything, you're going to be miserable. Let yourself off the hook a little bit by accepting the fact that uncertainty is part of your everyday existence. Like, maybe your jaw will unclench a little bit, maybe your shoulders will drop, maybe you'll sleep a little bit better at night. Okay, you guys have made it this far in the video, and it's time for your actionable little tip that I leave you off with at the end of each video every Wednesday. This is my suggestion for learning to embrace uncertainty more, learning to love uncertainty more in your life, or at least just not being its mortal enemy anymore. By the way, therapy is one particularly useful approach. However, I am not licensed, nor do I have the educational training to do that particular thing for you. So we're gonna start with something a little bit more simple. What I ask you to do is, the next time that you find yourself caught up in this, and make a conscious effort to try and notice when this happens, come back to each of your 5 senses. It's a really easy trick because you think of the 5 senses, a little action for each one. So first you start off with sight. Look around and point out 5 things that you see in your general vicinity. Like right now, I see my phone, I see my cup, I see my glasses, I see my candle, and I see my ring light. That's embarrassing. Try picking out maybe something that you don't typically notice if it's a very common area that you're in. Now you're going to notice 4 things that you're feeling. Perhaps you take note of the texture of your clothing. Perhaps you feel like the smoothness of your skin, your hair. Perhaps you have a cup that you are feeling, and something smooth, something jagged, like whatever thing has texture on it, which is everything. Find 4 of those things and just non-judgmentally describe them. Next, you're going to go to audio, hearing. So you're going to access 3 things that you can hear right now. And you'd be surprised that there usually are 3 things within your environment that you can hear when you really, really listen. So like right now it's kind of tough because I have my air conditioner on, so it's kind of blocking everything else out. But I'm sure there would be 2 other things if this wasn't on. Fourth, you are going to move to smell. Bring attention to a scent of some sort. Like maybe you're outside and you smell like fresh cut grass, or maybe you have a pot of coffee boiling. I like to carry around a little like roller of lavender, and anytime I start feeling kooky, like I smell it and it really instantly calms me down. Finally, you only have 1 sense left, and that is taste. So you're gonna taste one thing. So maybe you have a piece of gum, or you have a mint, or some like lip gloss, like anything. Take a drink of juice or coffee, and then with all of that, you've just engaged in your 5 senses, which really helps you to come back into the moment and not be futuring off somewhere else. You will feel more grounded, you'll feel more present. And honestly, I don't feel like this particular meditation, I guess we'll call it, is one that you need to do several times to get the benefits of it. I usually feel like instant relief from a grounding meditation, but it will also like relieve your nervous system and generally just help you to exist from a more relaxed state of mind, at least for a temporary period of time. So all right, everybody, that is today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, throw me a like, subscribe to this channel if you'd like to get new sobriety tips every Wednesday. I also do videos monthly on dating and sobriety and being LGBTQIA plus in sobriety. I have a video coming out next week with my girlfriend Petra, which is about the 7 most awkward things that happen when you're dating somebody in sobriety. And it's a really good episode. I'm very proud of it, and I'd love it for you guys to come over and watch it. What? Yeah, so go ahead and subscribe if you feel like doing that. Hit the bell if you'd like to get notifications every time I upload new content, and I feel pretty certain that you won't regret it. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.